Oh boy, it's Christmas! The time of year where most people are happy and full of joy, while others think sapping that joy makes them smarter. Screw those Debbie Downers, the holidays are great! But let's not beat around the bush. This is a series about video games. You know where we're headed? Presents! So back before everyone under the sun reviewed games, sources were pretty limited. You had Nintendo Power and maybe like GamePro, I guess? And some early gaming websites if your dial-up internet was fast enough. But my point is, we didn't do much research 15-20 years ago. Games sold on face value alone to kids, and more importantly, to parents. This Christmas, we're going to take a look at some games I remember fondly from Christmas mornings, and others, well, not so much. Christmas 1999. I got the best console ever, the Sega Dreamcast. The Dreamcast was way ahead of its time, with internet browsing, online play, downloadable content, an interactive memory card, and a whole host of features I never really used because I was 8. And I didn't need to because with the Dreamcast, I had Sonic Adventure. Sonic Adventure was like a tech demo for what the Dreamcast was capable of. Cutting-edge graphics, gameplay at blistering fast speeds, a rockin' soundtrack, and 6 playable characters. Sonic Adventure was a marvel for its time, and I ate it up. Time has not been kind to Sonic Adventure, however. The gameplay is pretty shallow at best, with tons of automated sections that have become a staple of the series today. Sonic's story is the only one worth playing, and even then, it's riddled with bugs. Each subsequent port has added more and more problems that Sega and Sonic teams seem to turn a blind eye to, making the game even worse than it already was. Despite that, I still remember loving Sonic Adventure and how much fun my friends and I had just running around in the hub world and exploring. It might not seem like much today, but at the time, Sonic Adventure made the Dreamcast worth owning. But not every game I remember loving was some hyperspeed adventure. In fact, Animal Crossing is the exact opposite. Animal Crossing is probably one of the strangest games to describe. You play as a little villager and run around fishing, picking fruit, chatting with neighbors, doing chores, and paying off your debt. That doesn't sound fun. That sounds like work. Work sucks. But funny enough, Animal Crossing is an odd little addiction that keeps players coming back for more. What I remember most about this game is the domino effect it had. One person gets the game, their friend starts a new villager in their town, and then they'd wind up getting a copy of the game for themselves later on, and the process would just keep repeating. Thus, it seemed like everyone had various versions of their villager all over. Animal Crossing was even bundled with its own memory card because of how much space one game file took. 52 blocks. At the time, that filled one of Nintendo's memory cards in its entirety. Animal Crossing had Nintendo's fingerprints all over it and was chock full of secrets and Easter eggs. The game contained a vast array of furniture and clothes, all of which could be bought, traded, or unlocked by players one way or the other. Although repetitive, Animal Crossing was filled with nice little touches that made players come back every day, and each hour of the day has a different song that plays. And if you were young like I was when this game came out, hearing the song that plays at 3 p.m. takes you back to getting off school and immediately switching on your GameCube. Later installments have streamlined or nixed a lot of Animal Crossing's slower elements, and I highly recommend the 3DS version. Nintendo has shown that Animal Crossing belongs on a handheld system, rather than a console release. Even so, the original that started it all will always have a place in the hearts of GameCube owners the world over. It's kinda hard to screw up picking the wrong gift up these days, or even just guessing without knowing what you or the person you're buying for will want. But it wasn't always so easy. A lot of guessing was involved before we had the knowledge of the world in your pocket. There was a year that I asked my parents for Rayman Advanced for the GBA, and made a point to show them the cover in Nintendo Power. What they picked up instead was Rayman 2, The Great Escape for Dreamcast. And can you blame them? These games look nearly identical, and they didn't need to keep track of all the crap I was playing games on. Getting Rayman 2 was easily the greatest mistake they could have made, because Rayman 2 was amazing. Man, when Rayman 2 came out, it was hailed as one of the best platformers of that generation. The worlds were bright and colorful, the music was on point, and the sheer amount of variety the game had was insane. There were puzzles, fast-paced platforming, crazy bosses. Sometimes you were riding a pencil bomb with legs, other times you were fighting a flying pirate ship. The game was just all over the place. Instead of his fists, like most games in the series, Rayman used golden orbs that he chucks at everything, and it made the combat so fun. Just locking on enemies and doing jumps from side to side, it made you feel like you were completely in control. Rayman 2 was able to run with the best of them, like Mario 64 and Banjo-Kazooie. At least, for a while anyway. Rayman 2 is like Sonic Adventure. Time has not been kind to it, and Ubisoft, like Sega, refuses to update it much at all. As such, a lot of Rayman 2's issues with its awkward camera and occasionally confusing and frustrating design becomes more than a little apparent with each port. Still, Rayman 2 will be, to me, the game I never expected to love. But sometimes it doesn't always work out. I'm not a parent, but I'm sure that shooting in the dark for what your kid likes is like walking in a minefield. Or maybe not. Like I said, I'm not a parent, but I do like Harry Potter, and I was into it from the get-go, and so I eventually got Harry Potter for the Game Boy Advance, or Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone for GBA. Whatever. I've talked about it before, roughly a year ago in fact, about how I'm not a big fan of isometric games. Go figure, that's what Harry Potter is. The game very, and I mean very, loosely follows the first Harry Potter story. You guide Harry through all the different courses in Hogwarts and complete different classes by learning a spell and then going through booby-trapped dungeons. I know they have to make a game out of this somehow, but the fact that every class puts students in mortal danger is really funny, actually. What isn't funny is the game itself. Harry Potter is kind of ugly, the music and sound is trash, and each section ranges from boring to frustrating. Truth be told, I never finished this game because of how difficult and confusing I found it as a kid. What's better is that I'm told this is the black sheep of the handheld games, since the ones after this were RPGs based on movies and books, which makes perfect sense. Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone is bunk, but at least I wasn't sure what to expect, because the last game on our list, I had hope. Blind, young, innocent hope. Up to that point, I had no reason to believe Sonic could do wrong. That's what happens when you're young. Everything seems great. You ask for one game you've been feverishly waiting for because it's your favorite mascot's take on Mario Party. But Sonic Shuffle was not great. Sonic Shuffle was the first time I realized a game could legitimately be bad. It was the first time I played a bad Sonic the Hedgehog game. Everything seemed in place, too. Take a bunch of Sonic characters, put them in a Mario Party game, that's it! That's all you'd think you need. But Sonic Shuffle tried to swerve left and wound up in a ditch. Mario Party is by no means perfect, but at the very least you can safely say it's fun. Well, subjectively fun. It works like it's supposed to. Sonic Shuffle does none of these things. Instead of using dice, Sonic Shuffle uses cards to move players around the board, and instead of stars, players collect precious stones. The game is a mess. The graphics are alright, but the control and design of the minigames varies from okay to just awful. The cards you use are also used to fight, meaning you can run out of cards and have to randomly steal them from opponents by, well, just picking a card out of their hand. It's cheap and annoying, and the AI is awfully good at picking your higher numbered cards when it needs to. Coupled with long load times, unbalanced characters, Sonic is the worst character to pick, in a dumb story mode, Sonic Shuffle is one of the most disappointing games I ever played as a kid. You know, now that I think about it, Sonic Shuffle is the only Dreamcast Sonic game to not get ported to another system, and seeing how many times the Sonic Adventure titles have been swapped around, I think that says even Sega knows how bad it is. That's just one blemish in a sea of magnificent memories from Christmas. The holidays are a time of joy, and craptastic games can't ruin that for anybody. Whatever and with whoever you're celebrating this year, I want to thank you for joining me in 2015. Happy holidays and Happy New Year, and I'll see you in 2016.